So here we go with the TrackMania Dirt League. League number 2 is going into the grand final right here with Max, Brain, Krim needs to PP. Alright, great start into this match. Ladies and gentlemen, he could have just peed earlier. Is he actually for real? Also, we're going to another map. I'm so confused. Is this guy actually for real? Why doesn't he play with a bottle? He's actually standing still. He's actually peeing, ladies and gentlemen. Krimonur right now getting his donger out and actually emptying his bladder as we speak. So we have a little bit of a deal. Oh, he's already back. Never mind, he's already back. That was a quick piss from Mr. Krimonur. So that was a very, very quick performance by him. Will he be as quick on the racing track as well? That is the question that we have to answer as we go through this warm-up. So apparently this one is going to be map number 1. It will be Riverside by Max. Max also playing himself, so maybe that's going to be an advantage for him. Or maybe it will actually be the opposite. That is something we will find out after the warm-up. So yeah, Krim definitely a little bit lighter now because his bladder is empty. I mean, in racing, every gram counts, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta keep that in mind. And now, for real, we are gonna start the match in the TrackMania Dirt League. We have Max, Brain, Krimonur, and Tox, the 4 drivers competing in the grand final right here for the TrackMania Dirt League. This is league number 2. These players have been going through an entire day of driving, and this is gonna be the final race. So Max right now with the first mistake already in the first round. Of course, we're playing on his own map. We are playing on Riverside. So Max right now losing a little bit of time right there in the first round already. The point limit is 120 with finalist mode, and we will play 5 rounds per map. That is going to be everything you need to know according to the position at the finish. You will be granted points, and Brain completely flying out of the track right there. Went too much on the left. Took the bump a little too hard, so it flipped him completely over the track. So we saw 2 mistakes in this round already. Krimonur, the guy that took a piss before this round, has taken the lead right now, and he's looking to win this round. Max actually has to go for the bonus finish. Maybe Brain is gonna snipe. No, he goes for the bonus finish as well. So we see 2 big mistakes in this round. Krimonur taking the first 10-pointer right here with his first place. Tox on 2nd, Max on 3rd, and Brain on 4th. So these 2 drivers that have made a mistake need to recover again, and they need to make sure that they find themselves into the match. Of course, it's very, very early in the match, and a lot can happen maybe on other maps as well. But you never really want to lose your focus and never really lose the momentum in your match. Otherwise, it can really backfire very, very easily. Going into this round, though, we have Tox right now, who's a little bit behind. He's 0.25 behind, but gets the tarmac section very, very well and actually closes into the other drivers. The mapper himself, Max, who made a mistake in the first round, finds himself on position number 1 right now. Tox going for a lot of speed in the downhill. However, you don't really want to go for speed because you have a corner combination coming up right after that, where you don't really want to carry a lot of speed. Brain with a wall touch on the inside, on that right-hander. Tox will capitalize, goes up to 3rd place. And we're now coming up to the ending. Max looking to take first if he makes the jump. Yes, he will. 57.2 by Max. Krimonur with a 57.5. Tox with a 0.7. And Brain with a 0.8. So that was a pretty good round with these drivers. And Max recovered very well from his initial mistake. Goes up in the lead again with the scoreboard here. 20 points for him. Krim with 16. Tox with 10. And Brain with 6 going into round number 3. Let's follow Brain here, who touches the wall very, very early on in the uphill corner already. And also Krim losing a little bit of speed. But Brain definitely with the biggest mistake in this round has clipped the wall on the outside wall of that uphill. And of course you don't want to crash in an uphill because acceleration in an uphill is very difficult, as you might be able to figure. So BioBrain losing some time, but he's still keeping up with the pace of the others. He's only 0.5 behind. So one tiny mistake by the drivers and BioBrain can snipe that. Another uphill corner here, very, very close to the wall. You, of course, want to go as wide as possible in those turns, because the steepness is the lowest on the outside of these blocks. Wow, BioBrain now with a huge mistake in the final corner. And the results will be as follows. Krim with the 10-pointer in this round, Max with 6, and Tox with 4. BioBrain, after that mistake, 5 seconds behind, gets last place again. And he's losing a little bit of pace to the others now. He's sitting there with 9 points, while we have a tie for first between Max and Krim with 26 both, and Tox with 14. Oh, and this time it is Tox that makes the same mistake. The setup, oh my god, but BioBrain with an even bigger mistake went fully into the wall there. Going from the off-road onto the tarmac, so big mistakes by 2 drivers already. And that will mean that we will be fighting out between Krim and Max. We're going for different lines here on this section, but both end up to have pretty much the same time gain from it. So Krim and Max currently fighting it out for that first place, going into the downhill. Krim carrying a tiny little bit more speed and gets the bump a little bit better. Max now trying to make something happen here. Goes a bit too close to the wall right there on the inside. Krim going very wide at that exit though. Needs to set himself up very, very nicely for this turn. It is neck and neck right here for the last jump. Krim gets the bump. And he actually completely loses his speed right there for the last jump. Krim clipping the platform right at the end. And that will be an easy clapper for Max, who clocks in another 10-pointer and will extend his lead. A very good round for Max because both of his opponents got very bad points in this round. So that was a big, big mistake by Krim. Unnecessary mistake. He could have just avoided that edge a little bit. But yeah, in the heat of that situation, everything can happen, of course. And there he goes with another mistake. Krim now maybe feeling the pressure or losing the focus, losing his groove a little bit. So Krim also making a mistake together with BioBrain. BioBrain also seemingly not feeling this map right now. The Team NWT player right now only with 13 points. A third place in this round would give him a little bit of a upper hand, but a third place still isn't sufficient. Oh, but a big mistake by Tox as well. And that will allow both BioBrain and Krim to pass him. So the Czech driver for Team THC and for Team Fox now dropping down to last place. And it will most likely be another first place for Max right here. He's taking it very easy through the last corner, slowing down a lot, and maybe, he actually barely made that jump, but he clocks in a 57.4, so he's gonna get another 10 points right here. BioBrain on second, which is good for him. A second place, 6 points, will be very valuable for him. He's now gonna close in to Tox for position number 3 on the overall score. Map number 2 coming in right here will be Smoothie by Deska. One warm-up, and then we are going live. The score looking very, very good for Max. He actually capitalized a lot from maybe the fact that it was his own map, or maybe he just felt comfortable on it. His mistakes, of course, only happened in the first round. His other rounds were actually clean. Krim has made a bunch of tiny mistakes. Of course, that big throw at the end of that round cost him a lot of points, so he's down to 33. Tox with 23 and BioBrain with 19. So you can see a little bit of a separation between the first 2 players and the bottom 2 players. Max and Krim looking to be pretty close in terms of pace and consistency, while Tox and BioBrain has shown some weaknesses on the first map. But then again, the second map can maybe change everything. We have Smoothie by Deska, with the current world record being a 1:00.61. Of course, I don't know if that's the actual world record. Maybe that's just the fastest time being driven in rounds mode. We don't know if people maybe drove something faster in time attack or in offline mode. But a 1:00.615 by Cocho looks to be a very, very good time on this track. So warm-up is coming to an end. We're starting map number 2. Of course, the point limit is 120. So nothing's lost yet for any of the drivers. But the second map for sure is gonna be exciting to watch. Let's follow Max here through the first round. Everyone is off to a good start. Biobrain. Oh, Biobrain yeeting himself out of the track right there. Went too wide with way too much speed exiting the turn. So Biobrain with the first big mistake in this round. So that will make it 3 remaining drivers. Krim actually doing really good in this round. 0.2 ahead of his opponents. Tox and Max right now fighting it out for position number 2. Some slightly different line choices right here. All of them really, really close. Very similar lines at the end of the day. Going through the fake finish now. Krim. Oh, Tox now with a small slowdown. I'm not sure if that was a gear down, but he lost a little bit of pace towards Max. Krim looking to be taking first place right here. Coming to the end of the track. Max going a little bit wider right here. Tox can maybe make something happen here in the last couple of corners, but Tox touching the wall right before the end and actually has to drop down for the bonus finish. Biobrain will even snipe Tox at the end. So that was a very, very big mistake by Tox. Unnecessary to say the least, because that wall was certainly avoidable. Krim, however, with a good time. 1:01.1. That was good effort by Krim and gets well-deserved 10 points for this round. So yeah, Biobrain seemingly not very consistent today. He has completed more rounds with a mistake than a round without a mistake. But right now he's actually finding himself in first place. So maybe Biobrain is launching the comeback.exe right now. He's fighting with Tox. So the 2 bottom drivers in the total scoreboard right now actually fighting for first place. But Tox gets a gear down on the off-road section. Biobrain now hopping too much over the inside bump and gets sent right into the wall. But where's Max? Max is even further behind. So Max must have done a terribly big mistake. So now it will only be Krim and Tox fighting for the victory. Biobrain and Max are too far behind to make something happen. Krim risking it for the biscuit right there, both on a very, very equal pace. Tox now sliding a little bit too much on the off-road, and Krim immediately takes advantage of that. But only 500s between Krim and Tox. That was a good round. Tox getting important 6 points for his account. Biobrain with 4 and Max with 3. So that means Krim is coming dangerously close to Max now. 52 and 53 respectively for the first 2 positions. Tox with 32 and Biobrain with 27. So the separation that I talked about earlier is strengthening now. It is extending as we progress through the second map. So let's see how it will go in round number 3. Following Tox right now, who actually jumps very far. Doesn't really opt for a smooth landing in the slope. And that of course kills the momentum. His opponents did that a little bit better and kept more speed out of that landing. Oh, but Krim with a huge stop pick on the left side. But also Max, again, nowhere to be seen. Max is going for some National Geographic's adventures right here. He's actually like 10 seconds behind. So the remaining 2 drivers are actually Biobrain and Tox. Both having the chance of taking their first 10 points, but Tox actually touching the wall in that right-hander, and it will be Biobrain that is most likely going to take his first 10 points in this matchup. And that is going to be a good confidence boost for him, actually. Clocks in a 1:01.56, which is not even a bad time. Biobrain with important 10 points, Tox with 6, Krim with 4, and then there's Max, who barely manages to reach the finish line. So the top 2 is closing in. Now only 1 point between Krim and Max for first place. What a round. Let's take a look at the next one. Following Tox, who might also benefit a little bit from the good round before. Oh, but Biobrain, as I mentioned, his good performance. But also Krim, looking at the front, gets a terrible landing. So Biobrain will actually move up to 3rd place again. But he made a mistake again very early on. So Biobrain's consistency is a hit or miss right now. It either works well or he just completely dies. So yeah, Biobrain not really feeling it as of now. Let's have a look at the top. Max actually getting a really low jump out of the underground section. Boosts himself up to 1st place. Tox on 2nd place. Max, oh, what a really risky line over the inside. That could have gone wrong. We know that the Stadium car is very allergic to hitting bumps like that. Tox taking it very, very easy. Barely manages to actually land smoothly. But it will be Max that takes the first place in this round. Tox on second, Krim on third. And then there is BioBrain, who actually has to go for the bonus finish as well. So another big mistake for him. Not looking good for Tox and BioBrain. They keep losing points towards the leaders. Max now with 68. Halfway through this match. Krim with 61 as well halfway through. And we're going into the next round. Oh my god, I thought Max is going to jump right into the pole. But he was barely able to avoid it. So lucky for Max. He can continue his rounds. And right now, no one with a significant mistake. Oh, but Max actually with a terrible landing. Look at that. I think he landed with his left back tire a little too early. And that just bounced him off completely. Max now finding himself 0.4 behind. BioBrain risking it for the biscuit right there. Actually gets it really, really well. Not enough to gain a position, but he is in a fight with Krim and Tox. BioBrain losing a lot of speed in that freewheel section though. That might have been another one of those gear downs. So we're now coming up to the end of the track. Krim, really good line through the uphill right there. Very close to the wall. Maintains a lot of speed, gets the no slide over the stretch. Krim with a 101.052. That is a great time by Krim. Tox with a 34, also doing really good. BioBrain with a 0.5. And Max with another big mistake on last place. And that will mean that we're tied up in the scoreboard. Both leaders with 71 points. Max and Krim. Very, very close to each other. That is what we like to see, ladies and gentlemen. This is really exciting. And we have not decided the winner yet. Point limit is 120. And then we, of course, have the infamous finalist mode. So a lot can happen in that regard as well. Map number 3 in this evening is going to be Sezv. How do you pronounce that, actually? I have no clue. Map by Benzord, anyway. This is going to be the third map of tonight. Coach also holding the world record here with a 55.15. Kocho, who I believe will be competing in League number 1 later on in the evening. Kocho has already qualified for the grand final together with Mad. And the consolidation final will be played out between Deska, Clem, Alban and Clockren. So that is going to be exciting as well later in the evening. But for now, we're going to focus on this one, on the grand final of League number 2. So BioBrain actually demonstrating us how to not do the finish. So also on this track you have a risky and a safe finish. Both of them being eligible. The riskier one being faster, but you need to get the turn before very, very well to accumulate enough speed. Otherwise you will not be able to take the jump properly. So let's see how the players are going to be approaching map number 3. Here we go, following BioBrain, who's right now sitting on last place still with 44 points. Tox with 50, and then, as I said, we have the tie between Krim and Max, both with 71 points. Close round so far, but as I say that, it is BioBrain that actually gets a terrible transition from the dirt onto the road. Slides a lot and loses a lot of speed. Let's have a look at someone else. For example, Tox, who actually loses a lot of speed by going too tight into this left-hander. Barely able to make that jump, so BioBrain will actually close in. The fight between Max and Krimonur. What a risky line by Max. Look at that. Carries a lot of speed through that uphill corner, but Krim with the inside line, however, gets it down a little bit better. Krim with a lot of speed. Most likely going to make that end right here. Max will take second. Tox on third. And BioBrain almost not able to make the finish jump. That was very close, but he clocks in a 56.09. So all 4 drivers within 0.6 of a second. That was a good round, actually. Especially at the top, both of them really risking it for the biscuit, really risking to get as much speed as possible out of the uphill and the downhill at the end. Krim being the victorious driver in the previous round, and he will go up in the lead, but he makes a mistake in this round very early on. 2.1 seconds of a time loss already. Krim, the leader of the match with 81 points, might lose it here. Again. Because Max is right now opting to, of course, go for the 10-pointer again. And right now, he's actually doing very well. He's on first. Tox now over sliding right here, entering the left-hander. We'll have to let the Biobrain pass. Now we're dropping down. Ooh, Max with a two-wheel landing. Was able to stabilize, though. Some slightly different approaches here. Now coming up to the ending. Tox and Biobrain with equal speed, but Biobrain gets a little bit of a bump right there. All three make the jump, though. And those were actually some really crunchy times. 55.56 by Max. Biobrain with a .70 and Tox with a 76. So all three at the top doing a very tremendous job. And Max will go up in the lead again with 87 points. So we have a little bit of a yo-yo right here between the two leaders of this race. Will Krim be able to recover from the mistake he did in the previous round? Biobrain, on the other hand, will make a mistake already. And loses a lot of speed. Already 0.6 behind. Let's take a look at the Czech driver. Tox. Right now on third. Max actually going for a very, very low transition onto the platform. And it does seem to actually pay off a little bit because he comes dangerously close to Krim now. They're both neck and neck, jumping down right here. Both landing a little bit from two wheels. Now going into the final downhill. Who is going to carry more speed out of it? Looks like Max is going to have the good approach. Krim going very wide right here, but he makes it. And Max will go further away from Krim in the total score. That was actually a very good ending by Max. Now up to 97 points. Krim 90, Tox 62, and Biobrain with 56. So the top players are now closing in. Ooh, Krim now with a lag. I don't know what that is about. I hope he's not going to eat that invalid time. That would be very unfortunate. The round is coming to an end. I hope Krim is fine. No, Krim is still standing there. Looks like Krim actually has a disconnect or a game crash maybe as well. We don't know what's happening right now. But Krim suffering from some technical difficulties. So we gotta wait a little bit until he's back on track and ready to go. And this is of course always a factor that participants of esport tournaments, no matter whether it is TrackMania or anything else, that is always the worst case scenario. Or maybe not the worst case scenario, but it is never something that you really wish for, because a break can easily break your momentum and can easily break your focus because you just don't play the way that you would normally do, right? So that makes it incredibly hard to you know, keep the momentum up high and to regain your focus as soon as it goes back live. So this is something that might actually impact a few drivers right here. Max, on the other hand, just decides to go backwards. Maybe this is his way to cope with the situation. Maybe going backwards helps him to, I don't know, stay focused. We never know. Every player has kind of his own ritual. Some players decide to just keep driving. Others take a break. Others take a little bit of a zip. A little bit of a drink. You never know. Everyone is kind of dealing with such a situation on his own. But yeah, always not a good scenario when it comes to competitive gaming. Max actually on a good time right here. Look at that. Biobrain going for the 1000 speed record. Look at that. He's at 900 right now. Let's have a look. He's going for some juicy speed slides, going up to 940 kilometers an hour. This is incredibly intense right now. 960. He is about to break the sound barrier right here. Biobrain is not only buying a brain, but he's buying a new sound barrier as well. There he goes with 990. And now he flips. F. Rip. Biobrain has tried, but he wasn't able to keep control over his car as soon as he broke the sound barrier. So, yeah, amazing. Amazing performance by Biobrain. That is going to be 10 points for him. And Krim is still standing there. Let's have a quick interview with Krim. Hello, Krim. Bonjour. What is going wrong? Ah, le internet est broken. Je ne sais pas. Oui. Alright, thank you very much, Krim. We will see you on the track again. We have Biobrain warming up his tires. Also very important, of course, to keep the tires warm. But yeah, we have some waiting time right here. So, let's see what's gonna happen. Krim now actually reconnecting onto the server, ladies and gentlemen. So, he's back. Hopefully he's ready to go, and hopefully he's not gonna have another problem. By the way, Max actually finished. Max finished. That's not so clever, to say the least. That is not very good. Max has went up to 107. He actually finished. So this is some high-end TrackMania gameplay right here. This is esport, ladies and gentlemen. Recommend this to friends and family. So what are they... what is happening now? What do they want to do? I have no clue. I have no clue. They could just let everyone drive around so they catch up again. Or they just ban this guy? I don't know. So yeah, in the meantime, we have some shoutouts right here for Micmost, TrackMania server hosting. If you're looking for a TrackMania server, you can check out Micmost. They are hosting servers for TrackMania. Are we going live now? I don't know. Anyway, let's just pretend that we are live. Going into the next round, we have Tox already with a blunder in the very first turn. Finds himself 0.3 behind already, so not the greatest start for the Czech driver right now. Max, I mean, I don't think he's supposed to finish this round anyway, judging by my terrible French skills. Yeah, so 2 mistakes in this round already. Krim in the lead, followed by Biobrain. These are the only 2 that have survived this round without a mistake so far. However, the gap is pretty big, and I don't know whether Biobrain is going to be able to catch up 2600 at the end. I think we're not going to see that happening unless Krim makes a mistake at the end. He has a little bit less speed, and he barely made the jump into the finish line, but he clocks in a 55.59, which is a good time. Biobrain also with a 0.8. Tox with 4 points, and Max with 3, so he finished. So apparently they're now counting the points manually, which means that Max and Krim both have 100 points, Tox with 66 and Biobrain with 62. So basically Max has 10 points less than now. Which is gonna mess with the finalist status. But yeah. Max definitely winning the award for the biggest forehead of the evening. But yeah, we're going back onto Riverside. The map pack consists of 3 maps in this competition, and they will loop until we have determined a winner. So we will be back on Max, his own track, Riverside. He has performed very well the first time we have went through this, so maybe he can repeat that. And perhaps snack in the victory in this match. So Tox and Biobrain are actually very close to each other. Only 4 points between third and fourth. So that is something, as I said before, very, 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 very dominant that you have these separations between the players in this matchup. So we kind of have two 1v1s here in this match. But yeah, we're going into the next round again. Back on this track we go. We're following Max, who gets the best start right now. Going up the hill. Oh, but he clips the wall on the outside. That was not the greatest approach. I kind of saw that coming, but I was hoping that he's gonna stabilize or try to adjust his line. However, he wasn't able to do so. So Max with the early mistake. Putting the camera onto Tox, who is on third place right now. Biobrain getting a little bit of a bump on the right side. Loses a tiny little bit of space. And Krim, on the other hand, is off to a really, really good run right here, actually. Krim, 0.3 ahead of everyone else. Looking to take a 10-pointer here. And come very close to Max, who is on last right now. So this is the best case scenario for Krim right now. Tox with a very risky line at the end, but he survives it. And he takes second place in front of Biobrain and Max. Wait, what? The points reset now. Okay. So the points are in the chat now. Max with 103, Krim with 110. Tox 72 and Biobrain with 66. So Krim now going up into the lead. And the point limit is 120. So if he survives this round and keeps on first place, then he will be finalist. Finalist mode, meaning that you need to win another round to secure your position. And if he does that, then he is the winner of the TrackMania Dirt League 2. And it looks very, very good right now. No player in reach. Tox with another mistake. Max has made a mistake. Biobrain has made a mistake. All three drivers have made a mistake except Krim. So this is his round to lose right now. This is his round to lose. But I don't think Krim is going to throw that away. Krim taking it very easy in the last uphill. He's jumping towards the finish line. And he will go up into finalist mode. 57.3. That is a good time by him as well. So Krim now with his first attempt at being a finalist. Will he make it happen or will he crumble like a Subway cookie? We're gonna find out in this round. Max with 109, so if he snipes Krim... Oh my god, did Krim just die? Yep, Krim has successfully died already in the first turn. So Krim already out of this one. Which gives Max a good chance of coming close to 119 points. He's going to have the slap in the face, of course. Because if he takes 10 points, then he will sit there with 119 points. Which is terrible, because it forces him to finish another round to enable finalist mode. So that's the worst case scenario for Max. So he guaranteed needs to play at least 2 more rounds in order to be a finalist. Which gives Krim a very, very good chance of making it happen. Even though he died in this round, he still has a bunch of chances. Krim standing there, looking good like a model. Like, he was standing there showing off his biceps. So that looked pretty good. But yeah, Max will win this round, actually with a very good time as well. 57.1 is a really good time. Biobrain with a 0.5 and Tox has made a mistake. Got 4 points for his efforts. So the points will be finalists again for Krim, 119 for Max, Tox with 80 and Biobrain with 75. Next finalist attempt for Krim. Will he make it happen now? Everyone is off to a good start. No one has made a mistake so far. All of the drivers are within 0.1 of a second within each other. Krim in the lead, followed by Max. Some slightly different approaches right here. Tox going a little bit wider, but maintains a lot of speed. And Max actually lost a little speed right there. So Max now down to 4th. And Biobrain, will he actually deny Krim? But right now, oh my god, Krim, what a risky line. Bashes over the 2 bumps, but touches the wall on the uphill. Krim down to 4th place, but we have a mistake by Max. So Max will be out of this one. Biobrain on 1st place, Krim on 2nd place. We have 1/10 of a second. Krim needs to risk it for the biscuit in the last turn, but he touches the wall, and Krim will be out of this one as well. Krim will not make it happen again, and also Max will at least reach finalist mode, but he's not the one that snipes the 10 pointers away from Biobrain and Tox. So Tox and Biobrain will come a little bit closer, but they're still very, very far away. We have the double finalist situation now between Krim and Max in this match. The pressure is gonna be really, really high now. Tox taking a very, very safe approach to the first uphill, but he's not the guy we have to look out for. The 2 guys we have to look out for are, of course, Max and Krim, the guys that have been battling it out throughout the whole match. Biobrain with an early mistake already, and also Tox struggling to hit the optimal line. So it will be between the 2 finalists right here in this round. Slightly different approach right here. Krim going very wide, maintains a lot more exit speed though, going up to 1st place. Tox flipping. Max closing in though, lurking in the shadows. Some slightly different approaches here. Krim again really risking it right there over the bumps, but maintains a lot of speed with that though. Max, however, with a really, really good entry into the right-hander. Max up to 1st place again, dropping down now. The last turn will be decisive now. Let's have a look at Krim, who now risks it in the last turn, but Max actually gets it very well as well. And Max will win this round with a 57.069, and he will win the TrackMania Dirt League 2 over Krim, who has thrown away 2 finalist rounds, 2 finalist chances, and he will not win right here on this map either. What a great, great round. Max has been pushing his best time in the round where he needed it the most. Max wins TrackMania Dirt League 2. However, we still have the other positions left to be played out, I think. So, let's see how it will go here. Krim, of course, finalist. And both Tox and Biobrain are at 89 points. Shoutouts to Marius89 at this point. We're going back onto Smoothie by Deska. So I'm not sure if they're just playing for the 2nd place or also the 3rd place. But I think they will, yeah, it's just in the chat. Okay, so they will play until the 3rd place is determined as well. So we still have a couple of rounds here. Alright, here we go with the 3 remaining drivers. Krim, of course, remains in finalist mode, so if he wins, then he's out of this one and will take 2nd place in League 2. Tox and Biobrain are here to deny him, of course, but denying Krim on this track will be hard because he did very well on this track compared to the others, so it will be quite a hard task actually making it happen. But you never know what's gonna happen. Tox actually might make it happen right here. Tox actually on 1st place. Goes for a very risky line. Loses a little speed since he oversteered quite hard to adjust his line. Krim will capitalize on that and goes up to 1st place again. Biobrain finding himself 0.4 behind. So not the greatest round for him as of now. So we have to look out for the fight between Tox and Krim. Krim going very tight, but keeps a good line through the exit right here. Last uphill, risking it here as well, even though he doesn't even have to. But Krim goes for it, and unless he dies at the end, he will take 2nd place, 101.17. GG for Krim, he takes 2nd place in this competition. And that will leave Tox and Biobrain on the track. Krim is still driving. Get that guy off the track. So Tox at 95 and Biobrain at 93. So a bunch of rounds still coming up. And there you go, Krim. Yeah, I don't know. He's a memer. He's a memer. He just drove. But yeah, he got forced into the spectator booth. So we have the 2 remaining drivers left on the track. However, not really too exciting of a round right here. But oh my god. Biobrain made multiple mistakes in that sector already. And he makes another one right here. He wasn't able to maintain his balance properly. And he doesn't even make the jump now. Biobrain completely losing it here. And has to go for the respawn route. So that will be an easy 10 points for Tox at this point. There you go. Not the greatest time by Tox, but it is enough to win this round. Biobrain reaches the finish line though. Will secure at least 6 points for his account. 105 for Tox and Biobrain with 99. Coming closer to an end. But both of them can still make it happen. Oh my days, how did Tox not hit the pillar there? You couldn't fit a piece of paper between the wall and the pillar right there. But Tox survives and he maintains a lot of speed through the underground section. That will grant him the first place over his opponent Biobrain as of now. 0.12 of a second of a difference according to the previously passed checkpoint. Tox now with a slightly different line. Let's see if Biobrain is going to make the same mistake again. Nope. But he takes it very safe. Loses a 10th. And both will survive this sector as well. Biobrain this time doesn't have to respawn either. But it looks like this could be the round for Tox. However, he gets a very bad exit out of that dirt. And now this neck and neck on the last corner. Who's going to get more speed out of this one? Biobrain trying to make it happen right here. Actually gets a little bit of a speed drift out of the exit. And he will get the extra speed that he needs out of that. Very, very close round right here. Only a 10th between Biobrain and Tox. Tox has not gotten the greatest end right there. Biobrain has done a little slide on the uphill, on the downhill transition to get some extra speed. And that yielded him the speed that he needed. So 111 to 109, and now it is Tox that makes a very, very early mistake. Already 0.8 behind his opponent. So this one's going to be an anticlimactic round. So Biobrain, if he wins this round, he will also sit there at 119. He's also going to receive the slap in the face. He's going to receive the manchette. The busy FR manchette. If he clocks this one in, Tox will go up to 117 if he gets seconds. Alright, nothing happening here at the end. Both of them reaching the finish line. Biobrain with a 101.7, Tox with a 102.2. 119 to 117. We might see, or we will see, 2 finalists if both finish now. So this round, not going to be very useful. Of course, you still want to take every single round seriously. Even if you know that, it's not really an important round. You still gotta maintain that momentum. And keep yourself going. So in case both of these players finish, we have 2 finalists. And that's going to be very, very exciting. Actually, a good round right here, though. Look at that. Tox now going for a little bit of a lower jump, but Biobrain still maintaining a bit more speed. 0.06 of a second. Biobrain holding the upper gear. Tox loses a little bit of speed right there. Now we're coming closer to the end. Biobrain might be looking to take this one home as Tox makes a tiny mistake. However, he was able to... Oh my god! Wait, Biobrain! What?! What?! How did he keep the speed? What? What? How did that work? He landed on the barrier! And he did not lose speed! What do you mean? Are you actually kidding me? He should have been punished for that. Oh my god. Alright. That was interesting. So we have the double finalist situation. We're going on to Ben Sword's map one last time. This is the final round. Whoever wins this round will take third place in League 2. Biobrain or Tox. Here we go into the round. Both of them off to a good start. Biobrain, however, not hitting that line very well altogether. Tox creeping in closer, lurking in the shadows. Gets the inside line, going onto the tarmac. Goes up to first place now. Biobrain not too far behind though. Only 500ths of a second. This is not lost yet for him. Very, very similar line choice. Tox opting for a little bit of a wider exit. However, it didn't really give him more speed. This turn will be important to keep the speed. Biobrain going very wide. Does that very well. 0.1 of a second in front of Tox, but he bumps a little bit in that turn. Biobrain maybe jumping a little bit too far left, but he maintains his speed. And he will go into the final downhill as the leader. Will he keep the speed? Tox now risking it for the biscuit right there. Tox actually with a little bit more speed. Biobrain gets the low jump, but it will be Biobrain that wins this round. Tox has jumped too far right, and this will be a close round after all. 0.06 of a second between Biobrain and Tox, and Biobrain will take third place in this league. GG. So, Max will win in front of Krim, then it will be Biobrain on third, and Tox on fourth. GG to everyone.